As the Premier League kicked off for the first time since the lockdown, players, before the game started, took the knee as a sign of solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement around the world. These are images from last night, but then look at this. This Colin Kaepernick here, the NFL player who took the knee in silent protest during the US national anthem in 2016. It got a lot of criticism. The president, Donald Trump, accusing him of being unpatriotic, these people being traitors to their country. This is the more recent history of taking the knee. But that wasn't how the UK Foreign Secretary saw it in an appearance on Breakfast Radio. This is what he had to say.
I understand this sense of frustration and restlessness which is driving the Black Lives Matter movement. I've got to say on this taking the knee thing, which I don't know, maybe it's got a broader history, but seems to be taken from the Game of Thrones, feels to me like a symbol of subjugation and subordination rather than one of liberation and emancipation. But I understand people feel differently about it, so it's a matter of personal choice.
So would you or wouldn't you do it?
Take the knee for two people, the Queen and the Missus, when I asked her to marry me.
Well, I think one of the lines there was it might have a longer history. Well, let's just bring you some of that longer history. Here's Martin Luther King during, of course, the Civil Rights Movement, perhaps one of the most famous decades of the Civil Rights Movement, here taking the knee in the United States. This was a tweet from the Martin Luther King Center in the US at the time when there was a lot of debate about Colin Kaepernick. But as you can see here, it seems the Foreign Secretary was unaware or unwilling to acknowledge this long history. That got a lot of criticism. You had David Lammy of the UK's Labour Party accusing him of being insulting to the Black Lives Matter movement, saying here as well that he was an embarrassment. Let's bring you some of the other criticism as well from Dr. Shola. She's appeared on Euronews, a prominent campaigner for Black Lives Matter, for equal rights. She's saying here that Dominic Raab is saying it's like a Game of Thrones. She says it's not about liberation and emancipation, basically saying he's completely missing the point, but goes on at the end here to say, yes, what an utterly white privileged thing to say. Worth saying the Foreign Secretary did come back with some sort of a response, Downing Street having said this was his personal opinion. Dominic Raab saying, to be clear, he stands with the Black Lives Matter movement and that we must all tackle racism. But still, his choice of wording in that interview, perhaps a bit of tone deafness there, really got him in trouble, certainly on social media, from a lot of people for whom this is a very sincere, symbolic gesture in solidarity with communities feeling on the brunt, feel like they're enduring the brunt of police violence.